Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for some more Star Wars Battlefront II news. And I will just say up front that we have a ton to cover today. This week has been pretty stacked with news leading up to Gamescom, which begins in just 3 days. Before we jump into the news, if you guys could leave a like on this video, it really helps out the channel. We managed to smash over 5,000 likes in the last upload, so let's see if we can pull that off again. But let's not waste any more time and just jump right into the news, starting off with a couple of pretty mind-blowing announcements from the Battlefront II devs. First off, Total FPS revealed that the community transmission that is dropping during Gamescom is going to be the biggest community transmission yet. As of right now, the biggest transmission we've had is the Clone Wars Begins transmission, and that's the one that dropped just after EA Play in 2018. That, of course, is the transmission that announced not only Geonosis, but Grievous, Obi-Wan, Dooku, and Anakin, and this upcoming transmission is even bigger than that, so I guess prepare yourself for a pretty huge announcement in the days to come, and the second it drops, I will of course cover that for you guys. The Battlefront community manager also made a pretty insane announcement and pretty unprecedented announcement over on the forums that we are not only getting one new PvE game mode, but 2 new PvE modes that we'll be hearing all the details on in the upcoming week. PvE of course means player versus environment. I was not expecting this, to be honest. I assumed we'd just be getting something similar to offline capital supremacy, but no, DICE has apparently went above and beyond to give us 2 new modes for players who want a richer arcade-like experience. I'm really hoping DICE has managed to pull off Hero AI for whatever these offline modes will be. I'm assuming it'll be Capital Supremacy and Galactic Assault, but who knows, I only expect it to get 1. If we only have regular Trooper AI like we do right now, it's going to get dull really quickly. I know when they finally released Offline Walker Assault for Battlefront 2015, it was better than nothing, but it devolved into a very dull experience after a few playthroughs because of the pathetically low effort AI. But anyways, for those of you wondering when exactly we'll be able to hear the specifics next week, all we know right now is that the full transmission will be released during Gamescom, which takes place from Tuesday the 20th through Saturday the 24th. We also know that it won't be released the opening night of Tuesday, and DICE never releases transmissions on weekends, so that Saturday is definitely out. That leaves us with Wednesday the 21st through Friday the 23rd as possible release dates, and just judging off of DICE's history, I would say Wednesday or Thursday are pretty much a lock for when the CT will drop, hopefully Wednesday because the sooner the better. I wish they would just announce in advance when they plan to release things, but DICE just doesn't seem to like giving any type of heads up when it comes to news, so we'll just have to keep an eye out mid next week. Next up, we do have some bad news to counterbalance the good, as seems to be the norm with Battlefront in general, but unfortunately it looks like Clone Commandos are not being announced at Gamescom. Either that or our community manager is just purposely trolling the community, and after the Crash Speeder debacle a year ago, I really don't think he would do that. Over on Twitter, a Battlefront fan tweeted at Ben saying fulfill the prophecy, and we've talked about this prophecy several times in the past. A long time ago, Ben tweeted out saying he couldn't wait to show us 2 unnamed things. One of those was confirmed to be the ARC Troopers, and the devs have said over and over again the second has yet to be revealed, and that it would finally be unveiled at Gamescom. Pretty much everyone in the community was sure the second blank was going to be Clone Commandos. So many other units have released since that theoretically could have been the second blank but weren't, like Droidekas and BX Commando droids, so naturally it would make sense that DICE meant the second blank as a clone-based reinforcement to counter the Droideka, not to mention the devs have teased Clone Commandos so many times, and more importantly, Clone Commando assets have been found in the files of the game. But just yesterday, Ben replied to this tweet which showed a picture of Clone Commandos, explicitly stating that no, Clone Commandos are not the prophecy, and this threw pretty much the entire community for a loop. Some people have been really stretching and saying that maybe Ben meant those specific commandos in the GIF, who are called Delta Squad, are not the prophecy, but literally the only way that is true is if Ben is purposely trolling us, so on Wednesday or whenever the community transmission drops, him and the rest of the developers can have a good laugh at our expense, but after the drama we have had in the past, I really doubt Ben would do that. It would be a pretty bad look in my opinion. The only thing that really confuses me is, I can't think of any other so-called prophecy we have been waiting to hear. Quite literally, the only other thing I can think of is way back in February of 2018, Dennis Brandval, who is the design director for Battlefront, tweeted out saying that yes, there will absolutely be more female heroes and troopers in Battlefront, and seeing as we haven't had any other female heroes added to Battlefront 2 since then, maybe that's what he is referring to. It seems like a bit of a stretch, but I guess that could make sense seeing as 3 of the 4 rumored heroes are indeed female, those being Padme, Ahsoka, and Asajj Ventress. The silver lining here is we won't have to wait long at all to know for sure if Ben was trolling or is just referring to some other lesser known prophecy. Either way, Ben had to have known how the community was going to take this tweet. Pretty much everyone on the subreddit is in total uproar. I will say, for me personally, as a Battlefront fan myself, I am way more interested in new heroes and maps and hero skins and blasters than I am hoping for more reinforcements, so I will not be devastated if Commandos aren't coming but something better is. I do know a lot of people were really hoping for Commandos, so fingers crossed our community manager was just trolling us, I guess. That is a bizarre thing to have to hope for, but here we are. This is the Battlefront community. The only other option I can think of is clone Commandos are still coming, but they aren't the prophecy and something else is. That's the only other way that Ben would tweet that out, knowing how the community would take it, and for it to technically be the truth while not disappointing people. I don't know, it just seems really weird for the devs to have teased clone Commandos for so long in various ways, and then just do this out of nowhere. We'll just have to hold on a few days and get a final answer. Anyways, let's move on to the update that dropped this week. I wasn't able to cover it when it released on Wednesday as I was in Orlando, so we will quickly go over it right now. It was a pretty small update, a lot of you probably didn't even notice, but there are a few changes that are worth noting. First, they finally fixed the issue with Obi-Wan's push, where Kylo can still pull him during his animation. They gave Obi-Wan immunity to most force powers with all-out push with the last update, but they somehow forgot about Kylo's pull in the process, and that has now been fixed. They also fixed the AT-ST's ability to one-shot heroes with rockets. That was supposed to have been changed with the last update, but like most things, DICE seems to need multiple tries to fix any bugs. Just look at Vader's choke, which after 1600 different tweaks still glitches out occasionally. The broken milestone for the TX-130 has also been fixed, and Capital Supremacy should crash less due to some stability changes DICE applied to Naboo. Ben also dropped some information on possible Ewok reinforcements for Galactic Assault version of Endor. A post was made asking DICE why none of the assets from Ewok Hunt have been reused for other game modes, like the Survivors of Endor map, which is completely different from the current map and would work great for heroes versus villains, which would be a fun, cheap unit for Endor Galactic Assault. Ben replied saying he wasn't sure about bringing the actual map itself to HVV, but did say the team has discussed bringing Ewoks to Galactic Assault, but have yet to decide whether they will or not. Personally, I think that would be a really fun addition. Obviously, they would have to tweak them a bit to make sure they're usable in daylight, unless they were like 5 battle points. As the way they are right now, they would be far inferior to a regular trooper, but I still think they'd be a harmless way to update Endor and make for a fun change. Next up, avid players of the game will be happy to know that Ben has confirmed that some of the most pressing issues in Battlefront 2 are being worked on, and the team has recently diverted more time to fixing the most glaring problems Battlefront 2 has. Specifically listed are all of the issues with blocking being completely broken half the time, dodge rolling teleporting you back into attacks constantly, and finally the persistent server lag that has been a problem since day one. So if you or a loved one has been victimized by any of these game-breaking issues, you may be entitled to a fix for these very soon, and I certainly hope so because this game really needs a huge patch that is literally just devoted to bug fixes, as they have really started to get out of hand the past few months. Finally, we have a bit of an update on hero health. A user made a post over on the Battlefront forums pointing out something I had never honestly noticed before, but something I did find myself wondering about relatively often. According to this post, regular trooper kills as well as reinforcement kills often gives back 100 health instead of 20 if the trooper is killed near a friendly hero or villain. Now, there have been a lot of times I've questioned how I was able to get all of my health back so quickly when I personally felt I hadn't killed nearly enough enemies to max out my health, but I never really thought anything more of it. Well, Ben replied to this at first asking if anyone else had experienced this, but then followed up to his own response saying the team had marked this as a critical issue, so the DICE playtesters, if they actually exist, must have determined that this glitch is indeed in the game, so expect this to be fixed soon. Honestly, this really isn't a pressing issue when you compare it to the million other glitches this game has, like the ones that have a hugely negative effect on gameplay, but hey, bug fixes are always a good thing. Well guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave this video a like, and if you are new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss another upload. Make sure you are watching out this week as we should be getting a ton of information on the future of Battlefront 2. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.